Guys, I'm really scared right now. It's night time and I think there's someone in the house. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's broad daylight and I'm sitting here holding a lamp with some tin foil around it. In this video, I am going to show you how to light and edit to make things look low-key and dark. Okay, so here I am. I have got my phone mounted on a tripod in front of me. I've got a tripod, lucky for me. If I didn't have a tripod, you can just get someone to hold the camera for you. Or you can stack up some books and place water bottles around it like I've done here. However you want to do it, it can be handheld. You could even hold it with your own hands if you're really careful, but you're not going to be able to hold the light as well. So yeah, you can. I've gone for a dark space because I want a dark space, but all I've done is just turn the lights off. I've got an open window here with the outside world. It's kind of closed off, but just so you know, you want to make it as dark as possible, but not completely dark. Also, you want this light. You want a light, and you want it directed onto your face, probably brighter than you. It's going to look weird because what we're going to do is I am going to select the part of the screen where the light is, and then I'm going to drop exposure and look what happens, right? We get this contrast between, oops, try that again. We get this contrast between the bright part of the image and the dark parts of the image. And then once we drop that exposure, you'll see that the part of the image which has a lot of light on it, we get to see that in more detail and everything else becomes underexposed. So what I've done here with the light, this is just my, I'll turn that back up again. This is just my kid's lamp from his bedroom. And I have wrapped it in foil, as you can see here. The reason I've done that is because I want to direct it and I don't want that light spilling on the wall behind me. So you can see if I can just direct it straight onto my face. We get spooky vision, and it's just me that's lit up. If I don't have that foil on there, and I'm just going to undo all of my hard work. Right, you can see that spill, right? The light spills out all over the background, and I'm not going to get the same kind of look that I'm going for. But maybe you want that. Maybe you want to see some of the background as well. You can also just move away. Like if I just move further away from the background, then the light's got less chance of hitting it. All right. And so you can tell that I'm in a space, and we're going to get rid of some more of that too once we get this into the editing software and start to edit it. Okay, before we get to the editing, I just wanted to show you how to adjust the exposure on your camera. I've got this really weird angle because I'm having to shoot my phone through a camera while I'm talking to it. It's all a bit matrix right now. Notice that I am using an iPhone. The same rules apply on an Android, just things look a little different. You should know your device. And notice too that I'm using a self-facing camera right now. Of course, you don't need to do that. I've got a pretty good phone, so the cameras look really good, but if you've got an older one, just use the front camera, and if you can get someone to shoot it for you. Otherwise it doesn't matter. I'm not that worried about the quality of your video. Just do what you can with the equipment that you've got. Okay, so I've also got my trusty little night light here. It's actually nighttime now, so things are going to be a little bit darker. But what you want to do is, so I've got that light. You can see there when I move it close to my face, it's starting to look pretty weird. What I want to do is adjust focus and exposure onto the brightest part of the image. So the brightest part of my face. All right, I want to, so I wouldn't have the light in the shot like that, but I just want to do this for this demonstration. I'm going to tap and hold, and you'll get that AEAF lock up the top of the screen. That's auto exposure, auto focus lock. So once you set that, it won't, if I was to move, it's always going to stay on that spot on the camera. It's not going to change focus or exposure. It's always going to stay on that side of my face. And then I want to grab that little sun icon. Sorry, I've just moved the exposure lock. Grab that little sun icon and drag it down, all right, until I'm happy with the shot. So you can see there now, what's happening is that my face is perfectly exposed and everything else is underexposed, and that's what I want, because we want clarity on my face and we want everything to be dark. Okay, now we have the footage here in the editing software. This is in Premiere. I've installed everything. And this, believe it or not, is actually the start of the video that you're watching right now. Can you wrap your brains around that? I can't. Now this shot doesn't look too bad. It already looks pretty good, but what I want to do is just kind of darken some more of the background and just kind of change. So what happens a lot of the time too is when you're using light bulbs, not so much the new kind of energy saving ones, but old school ones, or sometimes the energy saving ones have like a warm glow to them and things start to look a little bit orange. So I'll just show you how to fix that. So once I've imported my footage, I've chucked it down into the timeline. Now I want to go up the top here to where it says color, and I want to make sure that the shot is selected that I want to edit. And the first thing I want to do is just change the white balance. So if I go over here to the side and get this little eyedropper, and I want to select something that is white, so I can go for maybe like my eyeball. You can see that hasn't changed a lot. The white balance wasn't too bad. If I do it on my face, things start to look a little bit blue and cold, and you might want that. You might want it to feel cold and uncomfortable like that. But you can also just change the temperature over here until it is kind of, you want the skin tones to look natural. Then after you've done that, it's just a matter of going down here to these sliders and just playing with them until things start to look how you want them to look. So play with the exposure, play with the contrast. If you boost the highlights and the whites and reduce the shadows, that's when you're going to kind of start to see the blacks start to be blacker and the whites start to be whiter. You might end up being able to block out like the entire background, and then just having your face exposed if that's kind of what you want it to look like. That doesn't look too bad. You notice that you start to lose a little bit of detail on the face. And that's pretty much it. That's what you want to do to get that color adjustment in Premiere. And I will show you can also do this in iMovie. All right, here we are in iMovie, and I have imported this. This is a shot that I recorded earlier, and the reason I wanted to use this one is because this is what I was talking about, where it's much more orange. So you can see that light bulbs can have a different effect, and iMovie makes it nice and easy for you to use. So you can just go up the top here. You've got all of these kind of tools to use. You can go to the first one, which is the auto adjust, and you can see that it'll try to make it brighter. So that's not something that we want to do. If you go to this color balance icon here, there's a number of different things you can do. First of all, for white balance, if you just click on that white balance, it'll give this little eyedropper, and then you want to try to find something that's white. So I've just gone for the white of my eye, and you can see that that's a much more natural skin tone. You can also go for skin tone balance, where you can select some of your skin tone and you'll get that same effect as well. But that doesn't help us with the light. We can still see a lot of the background in there as well, which is something that we want to avoid. I still want to get that white balance right though. Now we'll go over to this color correction tool, and you've got these sliders here. Down the bottom here, we've got the dark tones. So if we slide that, we're going to make the dark tones darker, or everything darker. And here we've got the bright tones. If we slide that up, we're going to make everything brighter. And in between, we've got the mid-tones. All right, so we're going to, if I move this mid-tone bit here, the mid-tones are going to get brighter, whereas the dark tones are going to stay darker. But what we want to do is we want to get the mid-tones to be darker as well. So it's just a bit of play here. We're going to move these sliders around until we start to, so if I remove, like get the dark tones darker and the bright tones brighter, soon we should start to get this balance occurring, where things are starting to look darker in the room. Doesn't look great, not going to lie. And that's because this software isn't as advanced as some of the other ones. Another tool you can do, and this is a bit of a cheat hack, is go to over here, we've got filters. And they've just got, if we go to this drop down menu, we've got a number of different filters. I just checked this out before, and you can see here there's some different kind of effects that you can use. I found this heat wave one to work really well to kind of make the darks darker. And then I can go back and try to get some of that white balance back into action, and that looks pretty good. I'm okay with that. So that's just how to do that in iMovie. So there you have it, guys. How to create a low-key lighting effect just using your phone and a desk lamp and some editing software. Now it's up to you. We want you to use these techniques to do this yourself. Even if your opening title sequence doesn't have low-key lighting, we still want you to try this because we want you to manipulate the light. And this is as good a way as any as getting you familiar with how to adjust lighting in all shots, not just the dark ones.